Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today. As usual, man, you guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, I want to talk about the 1992 Dream Team briefly here, because we know that the 92 Dream Team has been getting a lot of weird things said about them. They're trying to rewrite the history of the 92 Dream Team. They're trying to discredit how great they were, right, by downplaying their competition, right? You hear a lot of this now. Oh, the world caught up. The world was trash back then when the 92 Dream Team was playing. They didn't play anybody. There were no players on those teams, blah, 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 blah. But I want to talk about how the Dream Team had all the pressure, right, to exceed the hype, right? Not only did they have to live up to the hype of the 92 Dream Team, all the great players coming overseas to represent America, represent NBA basketball, right? But they had the pressure to exceed that hype. They had to go out there and dominate. And we're going to talk about that in this video, because I don't think a lot of people understand that the 92 Dream Team had a lot of pressure on them to go out there and not only perform, but to represent the United States in a way that would help promote the NBA, right? And help promote the game of basketball, which it did. We're going to talk about this in this video, guys, because a lot of people don't mention this kind of stuff. They don't think about this. They think it was just a cakewalk for the United States. They had no pressure on them. They had nothing for them to worry about. We're going to talk about it. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states that's been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, you know, I am truly humbled, man. Much respect to all you guys out there that continue to roll with me, man. Real recognize real. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I want to talk about this 92 Dream Team in a different way, or touch on some things that people don't really think about. Like I said, over the last couple of years, the 92 Dream Team has been, become under attack, ever since last year in the Olympics. And, the Redeem Team was better. And this version of the 2024 Olympic team will destroy the 92 Dream Team. And you remember, during that Olympics, guys like Colin Cowherd, guys like Nick Wright, Kendrick Perkins, they were trash the 92 Dream Team. I remember Colin Cowherd saying that the 92 Dream Team had no no big men that could stop Anthony Davis. No one that can compete with the big men of the Olympic team from 2024. And he brought up guys like Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo and Joel Embiid. And I started laughing. I was like, these guys forget who was on the 92 Dream Team? Joel Embiid can't compete with Patrick Ewing and David Robinson. He can't bang down low Bam Adebayo with Karl Malone or Charles Barkley. I mean, what are we doing here? And Anthony Davis, I like Anthony Davis. Really good player, got some skills, but dude can't stay healthy, man. And he ain't tough enough to compete with the 92 Dream Team. So when they try to talk about these guys, I remember Nick Wright talking about there was no shooting on the 92 Dream Team. He really said there was no shooting on that team? No shooting. Larry Bird can't shoot. I saw Chris Mullin outshoot Kevin Durant when he was on the Warriors, Kevin Durant, right? And Chris Mullin was there, and they were in an empty gym. And it was Chris Mullin against Kevin Durant in the shoot-around, right, from the three-point range. And Chris Mullin proceeded to destroy Kevin Durant in the shoot-around. Destroy him. Chris Mullin can shoot. Larry Bird, we know, can shoot. Michael Jordan can't shoot. John Stockton can't shoot. Magic Johnson can't shoot. I mean, what the hell are we doing here? Those guys can shoot, man. I just don't understand when they say that, oh, they had no shooting. Patrick Ewing, one of the best shooting big men in the history of the game. David Robinson can stroke it. I don't get this stuff. All these guys can't shoot. They had no shooting on the team, man. Stop it. They had everything covered. Everything. Rebounding, defense, leadership, heart, grit, toughness. Like I said, playmaking ability. I mean, they had it all. They had it all. That's why a lot of people recognize them as the greatest team ever assembled, man. The 92 Dream Team. But one of the things that I was hearing a lot about the 92 Dream Team is that they didn't play against anybody and that they had, no pressure, right? There's no pressure on them. They went out there and beat everybody down. They played against nobody. And there were some really good players on some of these teams, man. Guys like Arvydas Sabonis, guys like Dino Raja, Drazen Petrovic, Vlade Divac, Tony Kukoc, right? So they played against some good players. Sarunas Marciulionis, guys that you probably don't even heard of. You don't remember them, but there were some good players. But it's not about the teams that they played or the players that they played and how good they were or how tough they were. It was about the pressure on the United States Dream Team to go out there, like I said, represent the country and dominate. Remember, the United States, their average margin of victory was 43 points a game, guys. If they would have beaten these teams by average margin of 22 points a game or 25 points a game, it would not have been as spectacular. It wouldn't have been as impressive, right? It would have seemed as if the Americans were not that great, that they weren't as sensational as people thought they were. Remember, a lot of these players from these teams, these countries, they wanted autographs. They wanted to take pictures before the game because they recognized what they were going against, who they were going against. They knew the stories of Magic Johnson. They knew about Larry Bird and Air Jordan. They knew about Charles Barkley, right, and the toughness and the attitude of Charles Barkley, right? They knew about the Stockton-Malone combination, right? They understood about Patrick Ewing and David Robinson and what these guys could do down low, how tough it was going to be to go against players like this, how tough the Americans were, right? How attitude and prideful Americans were. They knew it was going to be tough to go against because they knew about those guys. They looked up to those players. So like I said, all the pressure was on the United States to not only go out there and perform, but they had to go out there and dominate. They had to win by 43 points a game. They couldn't win by 22, like I said, or 25. They had to go out there and beat teams down. That's how you show dominance. That's how you inspire the rest of the world to want to come to the NBA. To be like, yo, the best players in the world playing the NBA, man. Look at these guys. Look what they did. Right? We sent our best players out there against them, and they dismantled them like they were nothing, like they were high school teams, destroying them. And all these years later, people say, oh, they didn't play against anybody. That's why they beat them down. No, they beat those teams down because they respected them. And what am I talking about? I've talked about that. I mentioned it before. It's not a coincidence that the United States beat them down by 43 points a game, the second highest margin of victory in United States history. I believe only the 1956 team, I believe, had a higher margin of victory. I think they had a margin of victory of like 53 points or something like that. So when we think about what the United States Dream Team did, like I said, the average margin of victory, that's how they showed respect to their opponents. Because they went there and they didn't lollygag against Angola. They didn't lollygag against Croatia. They didn't lollygag against Puerto Rico. They didn't lollygag against any of these teams. They went out there and treated them as if they were the toughest team ever, as if they were the underdogs. And they had to go out there and prove a point. So that's the pressure I'm talking about, and that's the respect they show to their opponents. They didn't go through the motions. Like I said, they didn't lollygag out there and take it for granted and come in there thinking, we're America. We're going to kick these guys' butts. We don't have to practice. We don't have to worry about this stuff. They said that Michael Jordan was watching film on these teams. They said he was the only guy doing this. Michael Jordan, guys, the greatest player on the team, was the only guy watching film, studying the opponents. That's what Michael Jordan was doing. That's how much it mattered to him, right? That's how much it meant to the USA Dream Team. Chuck Daly making them guys practice like that. Remember, making them go against the college kids and finagling it up, right? Messing with their minds, right? Having that scrimmage, right? Magic Johnson's team versus Michael Jordan's team in Monte Carlo, right? Michael Jordan to this day talks about how that's the greatest game he ever played in. Magic Johnson said the same thing. The greatest game I ever played in wasn't even a regular NBA game or an NBA Finals game. It was that game in Monte Carlo. When they played 5-on-5, the Dream Team, man, and they went at each other. And Chuck Daly was like, yo, y'all go at it and do it. And they went at it. You've heard the legendary stories, man. So once again, man, much respect to what they did because they didn't lollygag out there. Chuck Daly didn't take it lightly. They didn't use it as just a vacation time for them. Hey, let's just go play golf all day and not take these teams serious. Nah, man, they took them teams serious. They understood. Michael Jordan started every single game, guys. He started every game. If they wanted to go out there and lollygag, they'd be, oh, Mike, we're going to rest you this game and sit you out. He played every game and started every single game. I think Magic Johnson, I believe, missed 2 of the games because of a knee thing or something like that. But they went out there and they gave the effort, man. And they gave max effort. Like I said, that's how they showed respect to these teams. You know, I remember, like I said, them talking about the USA Dream Team. Like I said earlier, it wasn't just about them dominating on the court, right? And just showing the skills, showing the overall game, showing NBA basketball, right? Promoting the NBA, promoting basketball for all these other people to see. So they can go home and be, yo, man, I want to be like Charles Barkley. I'm going to go out here and do what I saw Patrick Ewing do. I'm going to go out here and do what Michael Jordan was doing. Or what I saw Scottie Pippen or Clyde Drexler or Magic Johnson or Larry Bird. Who, to me, Larry Bird is an inspiration to a lot of people on the Dream Team. People try to knock Larry Bird. Oh, Larry Bird was trash on the Dream Team. He was old and beat up. Yeah, that might be true. He might have been old and beat up. But what you saw from Larry Bird, the savvy, the high IQ, this man was still out there killing it. He was still out there being effective. Why? Because his overall game and the fundamentals and the IQ of Larry Bird, the savviness of this man, This dude was sensational out there, even after dealing with all the back stuff, all the bad feet, all the injuries, and all the wear and tear over the years. Larry Bird was still sensational out there, man. We're talking about a high IQ player, a guy that could do different things on the court. It wasn't about the numbers that Larry Bird was or wasn't putting up. It was the impact, which was always there for Larry Bird. So these guys inspired you with their play. But I remember them talking about this. Like I said, it wasn't just about the on-court stuff. It was about them promoting the NBA and them, representing America. And I remember them talking about Charles Barkley, and some of the people were worried about Charles Barkley's personality, his demeanor. And you guys remember that game against Angola. Like I said, they didn't take these teams for granted. And who's Angola? Let's just, go out there and just go through the motions and lollygag and just throw up some shots and be weird out here and not play an actual fundamentally sound game or look like we know what we're doing. They went out there and beat down Angola. They beat Angola down by, I believe, 68 points. And you remember going into that game, they asked Charles Barkley about Angola, and he said, listen, man, his direct quote, I don't know anything about Angola, but Angola's in trouble. That was his exact quote, and they went out there and beat him down by 68. But you remember, in that game, Charles Barkley hit that dude with the elbow in the chest, right? Didn't apologize, and it was a whole thing right there. And Charles Barkley got like a flagrant foul or a technical, something like that. And I remember that because, like I said, that was like a black eye on that game. Like I said, they beat down Angola by 68 points. And that kind of marred the victory because they made Charles Barkley out to be this bad guy and, the nasty American, right? And they try to make it seem like the Americans were bullying these teams that were lesser than. But it wasn't about bullying these teams. It was about putting on a show, and it was about, respect and representing, like I said, the NBA and American basketball and showing teams like, yo, y'all got a long way from where we are. And we're not going to take you guys for granted because that's how you show respect to your opponents, by going out there and beating them down, making them earn it, right? Forcing them to have to score against you and not just giving them up, giving them points or allowing them to score and make them feel good about themselves because you're letting them do it, right? I told you guys about, how I'm an older brother and my younger brother. I would never just let my younger brothers beat me. We go out there on the court outside in the driveway and I'm going hard at them. It's me. I'm the USA. They're Angola. My younger brothers, and I'm beating them down. I'm not going light on Angola. I'm going hard on Angola, and I'm hitting them with the elbows. I'm beating them down, my brothers. I'm making them have to beat me. So when eventually they finally do, which they did, they can feel good about it. They can feel like, yeah, I earned it. My brother didn't give it to me, right? He made me earn that win. I actually beat my brother, man. I can feel good about that. I didn't cheapen the feeling for them. I didn't say, yeah, man, well, I let you win. Nah, man, yo. You congratulate them, you shake hands, and yo, you got me on that one, man. You guys have caught up, right? That's what the USA did. They beat them down, didn't take them for granted, none of this stuff. But I remember that play because I believe that they got a couple of free throws, or they got a free throw forward, and they made one of the free throws, and I believe that made, like, the USA was on a 46-0 run. 46-0 run. And the run ended up being a 46-1 run because of that free throw, because of the elbow by Charles Barkley. But they went on a 46-0 run against Angola, guys. That's not taking your team for granted. That's not taking these guys lightly. That's showing respect to these guys, man, and going out there and beating them down so that they understand this is what it's like in the NBA. This is what it's like when you go against the all-time great players. Michael Jordan wasn't all hype. Magic Johnson wasn't all hype. Larry Bird and Clyde Drexler and Mullen and Ewing and Robinson and Stockton and Malone and Barkley, they were not all hype. Pippen, they was not all hype. It was actually real, and they were seeing it firsthand. Like, yo, damn, these dudes are better than we thought. They lived up to the hype and exceeded that hype. That was very important for the 92 Dream Team to set a precedent. They were the first team to score over 100 points in every single Olympic game. They were the first team to do that, first Olympic team to do that, the United States. And like I said, man, for them to go out there and beat teams by an average margin of 43 points per game, that shows ultimate respect to your opponents. When they could have easily went out there and lollygagged and sashayed and, like I said, maybe beat teams by 20. That would not have been impressive, guys. That would not have been representing and pushing the game forward. That would have not helped make the game global. And like I said, those guys going out there playing the way they did, Michael Jordan, not going out there and lollygagging, he took it serious. Like I said, he's watching film on these guys, and they displayed and showed a beautiful game. A beautiful game. Magic Johnson, I mean, the ball movement of the Dream Team was sensational. Sometimes they were overpassing, right? But it was beautiful to watch. The way they executed the offense, I mean, their defense, I mean, they were shutting teams down. They were full court pressing teams. They were trapping them. They were switching all over the place. Like I said, they were running all over the place. They were challenging shots everywhere. I mean, they were taking charges. They were doing everything. They were doing all the little things that you would have thought a team like that wouldn't really be concerned or worried about. but they were true professionals. They carried themselves like true professionals, like true competitors. And like I said, they respected the teams that they went against. Not because, like I said, the name on the front of the jersey or name on the back of the jersey or what country they were from. We're playing against some lowly team. Remember last year when the United States played against the South Sudan, right? And the Americans were favored by like 50 points. They were like 50-point favorites, and they ended up barely beating the South Sudan. And we laughed about that. And I said, this is a perfect example of what we were talking about. You're playing against a lowly team, you're favored by like 50, and then you beat them by like 15 or whatever the hell they ended up beating them by, not by much. It's a laugh. You think the 92 Dream Team would have struggled against South Sudan? But what do they say? Oh, the guys, the game's evolved now. The world's caught up. And I always laugh when they say that's a weird, lame excuse, man. That's all that is. You're just making an excuse. The world did not catch up. Like I said, drop the 92 Dream Team in the Olympics last year. I guarantee they dominate. It's not about, if you drop the 92 Dream Team, they get crushed by these guys. The world caught up. Now, the world didn't catch up. The USA basketball regressed. Because you guys took it for a joke. You guys got soft. You guys been lollygagging. You guys didn't work on your fundamentals. Our game is basic, boring, and bland now. We're not as tough. We're not as physical. Our defense ain't like that anymore. We ain't the same. The game has gone backwards. Whereas European countries, they maintain their toughness, their fundamentals, their overall games. The United States, this ain't basketball no more. I don't even know what we're playing out there. I told you, the Americans used to be seen as the nasty, tough guys, as the bullies, because of something like Charles Barkley, right? Oh, look at Charles Barkley. He's a nasty American. We're bullies. We weren't bullies. We out there kicking butt. That's what we were doing, man. Right? But this is what they try to paint Americans as sometimes, man. And people worried about Charles Barkley and, like I said, some of his demeanor and some of his attitude and the way he was. But we all love Charles Barkley for that. Like I said, Charles Barkley represented America, man. He went out there and kicked some butt, man. Sometimes things get nasty. Sometimes you got to get nasty. Doesn't mean that you're bullying teams. They didn't bully teams, man. They went out there and beat teams down. They respected them so much. That's why they had that margin of victory the way it was, man. So once again, man, when people try to knock the Dream Team and they didn't go against anybody or they weren't that great, they had all the pressure, man, to exceed the hype. They had to be the first professional team. They were the originals, right? And they went out there, like I said, and they played a beautiful game. And they represented the NBA, they represented America, and they represented basketball, man. That's why a lot of these European players now, these guys from other countries are here now because of the Dream Team, guys. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.